Hello, everyone. I actually did the countdown thingy properly this time. Don't expect such technological greatness from me. Anyway, AmyR here, face, card making space, unpaid interns in the corner. It's cold in here. Literally, I have the garage heater running. It is insanely windy, and it's cold wind, and that gives me a massive headache. So I'm just like, everything's great. Everything's great. So much fun. But hello, everyone. A poll. Yeah, I did a poll. It's in the chat. Who'da thunk? I always forget that that's there. There's so many options of so many things. And yeah, it's enough to just try and keep up with just making camera work. You know? But I have a plan. I did prep. Shockingly. So this won't be long like my regular lives that tend to run super long. Mostly also, one, headache. Two, I have a lot of work I need to get done. I am very behind. I wasn't feeling good last week and I have deadlines piling up like a crazy person. So, we're going to use some pattern paper today. RES, the link is in the description box below the video. Okay, so, yeah, I have no housekeeping or anything. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy, other than I will have more videos this week than last week. Because like I said, I wasn't feeling good last week. Just was what it was, even though I did post that one video for like 5 cards. And then I posted a video using the mushroom set. So that was super fun. Okay, so I'm going to flip the camera down. There we go. And I need to zoom out. I knew there was something I was forgetting. There we go. We're going to use some pattern paper because I love pattern paper and I don't use it often enough anymore. I just enjoy having it, really. It's pretty. This is the Craft Consortium Grunge Light Tones. This is the 8x8 pack. There's 2 options. You can get 8x8 or 6x6. And I know they do like 12x12. I rarely get 12x12 anymore. But yeah, like, look at these papers. Seriously. And you get like 3 sheets of each, which is also extra nice with these because then I don't feel so guilty like cutting into it. So pretty. So yeah, you kind of get like almost like a rainbow of colors and see. Yeah, I've already cut into it because I did prep before the live started so that we won't have to just sit and stare at my face while I do like a bunch of die cutting. So lovely paper. And then I used this little bold flower little die set. I like how it's just very like whimsical, so you can kind of do whatever you want with it. So I die cut a bunch of these papers with all these little wafer dies. I also die cut a layer of vellum because you can't go wrong with vellum. I thought that's one way to kind of break up and to mute a little bit, and then it just makes the next layer stand out a little bit more. So we've got all those. And then I die cut some more of the pattern paper using this Poppy Pods wafer die. I'm planning on using it more like a stem, but also just like little greenery bits. So I did all my die cutting. And then to give it a little extra something, this was a trick I picked up, goodness, years ago. This was big, like scrapbookers used to do this a lot. And I always loved the look of it because like it looks fine just as is. You know, just pretty. But when you take a black marker and go around the edges, it just finishes it off and gives it a little extra something. So that's with the black marker and that's without. You know? So we're going to go around the edges I'm just using a Memento Tuxedo black marker. I think right now this is like out of stock. I linked to another one. It's by Tombow that looks exactly the same as this. So really, any black marker is going to work, with the exception of I don't recommend using alcohol markers for this, because alcohol markers will feather in if you're not moving quick enough. So if you're like going fairly slow like this, the alcohol marker can feather in, and especially pattern paper is thinner. So because I've shown this when I do paper piecing, like I stamp an image on pattern paper and I trim it out and then I go over the edge with a black marker. Same idea. I tell people don't use an alcohol marker for this because it'll just bleed in, and if you wonder why it looks like blurry or fuzzy and it just looks not pretty, it's the alcohol marker. So just a basic black marker. So this one works. The Tombow one I linked in the supplies also works. And then you just take the edge of the marker and just run it along the edge of the die cut. And that will give it that little bit of a defined edge. And it's simple and easy and somewhat kind of mindless, really. This is what I was doing before we went live. I was just sitting here, just edging all of these pieces with a black marker and not really having to think. So it's a little different doing it live because now I have to think and talk. Talking's hard. Thinking is hard. It's just been, as usual, chaotic. So, yeah. You can always skip doing something like this. And I don't do it every single time, like if I'm die cutting. I do find though with pattern paper, especially since we're layering up all these patterns, it does help give it that little extra something, because in some ways it's almost like the patterns just kind of bleed into each other and you lose that defined edge. So that just gives it that little extra something. So the vellum I'm just leaving. You could take a marker to it. You would have to be a little more careful because it'll smear easier on the vellum. And obviously, like if I mess up, like sometimes I'm not paying attention and I end up like scribbling like on the back of the piece with the marker. Doesn't matter, you're not going to see it. But with the vellum, obviously you would. So if you want to use it on vellum, you would just have to be a lot more careful, and it would take a lot longer to dry because vellum is just its own little beast. So I'm not going to define it. It doesn't need to be, in my opinion. But that is an option. But I'm just going around all these little edges. Doesn't have to be perfect. So then we've got that so far. And then, yeah, you can layer them up however you want. However, again, adhesive shows through vellum. So I am going to just stick like a blob of glue, like that, just in the very center. Layer it up however you want. And then this will take a bit to dry, which is fine. And then this layer, I think I'm going to pop up with just a really thin foam square just to give it a little extra dimension, because why not? I can do what I want. So put a little foam square on that guy. And then we'll stick him right there. And then... would you still do black edges if you'd added some ink blending? It's up to you. You could. I would do the black at the very end, like after the ink blending, because again, depending on the type of ink you're using, you could end up accidentally picking up that ink, like the black, and like smearing it everywhere. Chances are slim, but you know, I would just add the black at the end. But that is another option versus using the black markers to do ink blending. I was gonna do ink blending on these. I thought about it, and then I was like, wait a minute, I haven't done the black marker. I don't really want to call it a technique because it's not really a technique, but I haven't. Kind of. So there's our little flower. Just simple. And yet that subtle little bit just gives it that extra something. But yes, that is another option, is to take ink So I could have done like yellow inks for these pieces, some pink inks for these, you know, and done that as well. And that would have created a bunch of depth. Sky's the limit. You can kind of do whatever you want. So I have those. This guy's a little bit more finicky because he's a little delicate, but same thing. I like, and some of them I made mistakes on, like I kind of smeared the marker. I don't care. It's not going to matter. And we're going to add splatter, of course, because why not? So this one I just kind of go around the edges. Boop. Just like so. A lot of wind gives me brain pain. Oh yeah. It's like the wind causes a change in the barometric pressure and it gives me wicked headaches. And if it's a really big change, it'll give me like unbelievable migraines. Thankfully, haven't had a migraine in a while. But waking up with a headache is so fun. Oy. It just makes it harder to think. And then going live and all the bright lights, and I'm just like, you know, can we do these lives in the dark? No, I took Tylenol and all the things, so I'll be fine. Everything will be fine. But yeah. Yep. Yep. And we did get a good chunk of rain, so that at least was something, because we definitely needed the rain, especially up north where all the fires are.
Sure, everybody's heard of that by now.
Oh yeah, they're talking about it, well, all over the world now that the smoke has like spread all the way to Europe.
Yep.
Because unlike some of the idiots I've been seeing online and the comments, you know, we can't really keep it contained. One, fighting wildfires is a crazy endeavor and super risky and awful, and that's just that. But the actual smoke, can't keep it contained. It's crazy, and
it's gonna move where it wants to move.
Yeah. So then for these little openings, it's hard to show, but I'm like, just do. So yeah, doesn't really. Also, it doesn't need to be perfect because this is pattern paper. You could also do this with just regular cardstock, and that would give it an interesting look. But with solid cardstock, you would have to be a little more careful, because with a solid color, you're gonna see a lot more. Like if you smear it, you know, mess up, go over the edge, whatever. But again, if that happens, add a little splatter. No one's gonna notice. So yeah. Do. I get headaches if I take a nap. Ha! No, I love naps. Naps thankfully don't give me headaches. Crayola is a show. Honestly, you could use probably a black Crayola marker to do this. It would probably work. A Sharpie would work too. You just, again, you'd need to be careful with the Sharpie because it is alcohol based or solvent based. So a Sharpie might end up doing the same thing as like a Copic or alcohol marker. I would just test it. Take a little scrap of pattern paper, take the Sharpie and run it along that and see what happens. And if it doesn't bleed in, great. I don't like working with Sharpies if I can avoid it because I don't like the smell. Ooh, I hate the smell of Sharpies. It just grodies. Anyway, so thanks to the magic of television, I have all of my pieces done. I did all the leaves and I just die cut them from various bits of these papers. So I use like this one for a lot of the greenery. And I also used this one. It's kind of yellowy, like chartreuse color. So I use that. And then I like have to remember what my plan was because I got distracted thinking about wind and headaches and grossness. Blah. Blah, I say. All right. Embossing. This one's a must-have in my opinion. This is the Swiss dots. Again, with Swiss dots. I've been talking about it a lot. I love Swiss dots. They work for everything. I've got the stamp set. I'm going to just use the sentiments from this set, but the Swiss dots background stamp with the sentiments, love, works with everything, you know. A good Swiss dot embossing folder. So yeah, this is the Rainbow Splash one, which is Simon Says Stamps. line. And the Rainbow Splash embossing folders are very, very thin. So they're much more little basic patterns. And I have figured out a sandwich that works in the Empress, which I'm going to show. I figured out, this is the other thing I figured out how to do. Look at that. Look at that. Sometimes things work. So to use Simon's Rainbow Splash embossing folders with the Empress, you need cutting plate, a cardstock shim. So I just piece cardstock, the metal shim with your Empress, and then the magnet plate. So because this one is not super deep, or, you know, it's just a basic, I don't feel the need to spray the cardstock. Folders that have like those really deep grooves and patterns and everything else, I mentioned spraying the cardstock lightly with water because it softens the paper fibers. With one like this, it's not necessary. So we just put the cardstock in our folder, just like so. And then we'll go like that, and like that, and then I'll run it through the die cut machine. Look at you being all tricky and stuff. I know. Sometimes I figure things out.
You do.
Not always. And then I break it. You know, I'll figure out something new, and that usually means I break 3 other things. That's why I don't do like new things very often with like the tech side of live streams. So we got that. Now I can go back to me. Hi. Yeah. So there we go. Just cute little dots. So that's what works. Obviously, you know, it will depend on the machine, all the things. With these, not a big deal. But regardless of what machine you're using, my biggest rule of thumb is do not force it through your machine. If whatever the sandwich is that you figured out, or even if it's one that I've recommended, if your machine is not like gripping it and just taking it easily, don't force it through. Because if you try and force too much through your machine, you can bust your machine, and that ain't fun. Especially like a Empress that is not cheap. Okay, like I has busted a die cut machine in the past. It was heartbreaking. Like it was awful. It's awful. I still haven't gotten over it. Anyway, so yeah, we've got our little Swiss dot background. Can't go wrong with that. I'm going to trim this down just a smidge. I'm going to take like, let's take a 1/4 inch off each end. So I'm going to cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches. Yeah. So we got that. And then I need a card base. I knew there was something else I was forgetting. A card base. That would help.
Sure would.
Have a card base to put the card on. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do white on white because I want like the pattern paper and everything to stand out. And before I put everything onto the card, on the inside of the card, I had die cut one of the flowers and already added, you know, the little edging and all the bits. And then where are all my leaf bits? See, I messed up on this one. I got like black marker where I don't want it to be, but that's okay because it'll just go like underneath and no one will see it and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So I've got like little bits so we can add something to the inside, and then I want to add sentiment. Okay. Inside do the dot stamp. No, the dot stamp I've used on the inside and on the outside of several cards, but I'm not putting it on the inside. I'll just use my MISTI so I can stamp this. So, kind of like how it just fits right there. That's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. So that's what we're going to do. So I just got to make sure I got it lined up. Sort of straight enough. Yeah, we're good. And it's black ink, which, where did my black ink go? There it is. I was like, where did my black ink go? Oh my goodness. I have a Swiss Dots embossing folder that's about 20. Oh yeah. Swiss Dots as a pattern has been around for ages. That was one of the first embossing folders I ever got, was a Swiss Dots embossing folder. I no longer have that original one, but that was from like, yeah, literally eons ago. So, what are you getting into? Oh, you're gonna be... It's cold in here and you're going to eat ice cream. Really? That's funny. Okay, so we stamped inside. And then I just got to actually adhere the bits. Okay. All right. So we're gonna just start tucking in the little flowers and leaves. So we'll just kind of go like that. And then we'll do the same with this one. Kind of get that like so. Because then that's gonna go like that. So I want... Yeah, I like that. I like that. So then we're gonna tuck in these last two leaves. Just like that. Tuck in this one. Just like this. There we go. And then all we gotta do is add some glue. Oh, and shift him up so he covers the oopsies. Just like that. So now we got the inside of the card, which could also be, if you're into like very clean, simple card making, that could be a card front. You know, it would look cute. But yeah, that's just the inside. Now for the outside, I want to pop this up with a bit of dimension. So Big Mama foam tape for the win. So we're gonna put that. Costco for the win on that. You know, not sponsored, although I'd probably lose my mind if Costco reached out to me, considering the amount of absolute insane sponsorship offers I get. All of which I either ignore or just, well, no, I do ignore them. Like, oh, I forgot to tell you about the most recent ones. I had 2 separate weed sponsorship offers.
Marijuana.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. They thought it would fit really well with my audience. And I was like, they just, the most, and then some of them are like scam. A lot of them are scams. Like any that claim to be a big brand, like Pepsi, etc. Yeah, Domino's, all of that. They're scams. Because yeah, those sorts of things, like heck yeah, I would do a Doritos sponsorship if it was real. I'd be like, heck, if you're gonna pay me money to promote something I actively consume on a regular basis, heck yeah. But yeah, I get some bizarre.
We'll only do the marijuana when Snoop Dogg decides to come on.
No, I'm not a fan of him no more.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. But yeah. So many bizarre sponsorships. But yeah, if Costco came out of the woodwork, I'd be like, heck yeah. How much are you willing to pay? Can I get some free groceries out of that? Anyway, where's my little adhesive lifter? I've shown this in the last, I think, couple live streams. This is just the little Simon Says stamp adhesive lifter. And it's got little teeth right there. Like there. Red Hot, yeah, Red Hots, M&Ms, like any of them, you know, like if the legit ones, because I have been like offers with like San Pellegrino reached out to me recently and saying like they're scams. They're not real like people. And I'm a nobody. especially in the scheme of like an internet content creator. I'm not, I don't have millions of followers, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. And one look at the email and I know it's a scam. So I'm like, because, if they would actually, like, if they were legit, specific, like Coca-Cola, hello, I would promote you, you know, Doritos, Red Hots, any of that, M&Ms. Just give me your bank account number and poof all the money. Exactly. Like they're scams. They go after content creators with the intent of, yeah, I've had the amount of time I have to waste dealing with all these stupid like phishing emails, and just some of them I screenshot and send on because I have been asked like some utterly insane things over the years with insane offers. Oh goodness. And even the ones that are somewhat legit, but they're just like junk product, or just they don't have a fit. Like even the weed ones, it was legit. They were legit sponsorships. But I was like, I wonder what everyone would think if all of a sudden you saw me do like a card making video and like this video brought to you by, it was an online website for it. And I'm not going to name it because they ain't getting free sponsorship from me. But could you imagine? Could you imagine? I think you all would think I lost my mind. I thought it was funny. Anyway, so there we go. We've got just the base so far. And then I've got all my little die cut bits. And I'm going to do some creative editing because I don't want everything to look exactly the same. But my plan was, I'll do that one. And then this one, I'm going to trim part of it off. That's another thing that, I've shown many times in videos is like just creative, like snip apart your die cuts. Why not? So now I need to figure out my layout, which I have a second little flower that I only did like these two layers, like the last little layer, So I can do that. We'll see. I might still use him. And then I have a lighter colored one that this one I'm gonna, because I just want to tuck him in sort of behind. Have you had the freeze-dried red? I have not gotten into the freeze-dried candy. I don't know if I could handle it.
Freeze-dried candy?
I can't do the red hots with my braces right now. I could if I just sucked on them, but I chew them like hard candies, and that nope. But freeze-dried candy, I don't know. And they have it. It's everywhere now. Like literally everyone and their dog sells freeze-dried candy, and every time I'll pull out a pack because I'm like, and I'll look at it in the store, and I'm like, I'm sure sometimes it's great, but I don't know. My kids have tried some, and they were like, it was disgusting. We hate it. And I was like, if my little sugar fiends don't like it, that's saying something. Like that is saying something. Oh my goodness. Open a fake bank account and tell them to put the money there. I know, right? No, I don't take sponsorships. Like I don't have a qualm with those that do. Like even in the card making space, I don't have a problem with it. Nothing has ever come up that I feel like I could promote. It'd be different if a brand reached out of something that I already genuinely use and like, because so often it's stuff that either I've literally never heard of a brand, or their terms are completely sketchy, or like I've had ones with other unknown craft brands, and they had things like literally expecting, like part of the sponsorship was me giving them a favorable review, and I was like, the fact that you came out right out the gate and said that right there, that's a no from me, because I'm not going to lie to my audience.
Yeah, big red flag.
Yeah, I was like, if you expect that kind of yeah, like Trying to have standards, man, even though it means I don't make as much money. Oh well. Like, actually, yeah. And it's been years. I said no all those years ago, and they've never reached out to me since. So I guess I burned that bridge. There's one like HelloFresh. Like that one, I'd say yes to, especially nowadays. Like, I'd be like, sure, because you can send me some food and maybe pay me some money. I'll do that. With the cost of groceries right now, man. Okay, so right now we've got that. And actually, I'm gonna edit this guy too. And this one. We can do some creative editing. Because if we do that, and then we could stick this one maybe like that. Craft Consortium has great. I love Craft Consortium papers. I've used many. I've done live streams with some of their papers. I like to hoard their papers. Professionally curate. I love their papers, and they're very just basic. You know what I mean? Like a lot of them, they're just like this. Like they're just simple. You know, it's not. There's not critters on them or those types of patterns. Like they work for everything. Like they're just like backgrounds, really. And sometimes I get background inspiration. It's like, ooh, I like how they did this like blend, and then, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Okay, back to, I was getting distracted by the talk of snacks. It's not alive with me without like snacks. Anyway, snack. Okay, we don't need every single one. Now I need to add just a few leaves. Got all these guys. We could stick, you know? Yeah. So we're just gonna keep adhering little bits until I'm happy. Until I'm happy with it. Okay. There we go. And that one. That one. And then that guy. He's a big leaf and I don't want it hanging past the edge of the card. Just get a little creative with where we place it. Although when stuff is hanging off the edge of the card, I just slice it off so that it'll fit in a standard envelope, which always just makes me laugh because I had someone freak out on me in the comment. We talked about this last time, like people just becoming unhinged in the comments over crazy, ridiculous things. But yeah, I had someone come unhinged like years ago in the comments over me cutting off whatever element that was hanging off the edge of the card, and I just snip it off, and it made them very upset. I had to laugh. I was like, yeah, okay. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. That's, you know. Anyway. Okay, we're going to pop this guy up with another couple foam squares. Again, dimension is life. So we'll just peel off those little bits. And then this guy get popped into place. And I'll do the same thing with this guy. I'll put a foam square on him too, so he's not lonely.
Dimension is life.
Dimension is always life. Heck yeah. So on that one, how do I want to do him? Just like that. Actually, yeah, I'm going to peel up that lid. There we go. So the vellum's popped up. And then we got to add some splatter. Because you know it's got to happen. Let's flip that over. Let's do that. Let's do that. Because you know what's happening.
What's happening?
Splatter's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Black. Where's my... Oh, I cannot think straight with this wind. It is Thankfully, my microphone's probably not picking up on it at all. It like mutes that out. But it is literally howling. Howling. Ah. Ah. Okay. He said dimension is life, and I immediately added in my brain, thank you, Laura Bass. Yep. Yep. 100% is totally Laura Basson who started that. So a little bit of black gouache as per usual. And then I get my little fan brush wet and I add a little bit of water to thin it out. And then it's taking years for people to understand how to act on the internet. Oh, they'll never learn.
No,
It'll never end. Like, people are completely unhinged because they're unhinged in real life. And for some reason, a big chunk of people see the internet like there's like a weird disconnect. And, you know, people that would never say like boo to a ghost in real life, like, will say the most unhinged insanity. We talked about this last live. I went on a whole rant about it. But yeah, people are nuts. Thankfully, I've built up a pretty awesome group of peeps that, you know, get my sense of humor, and we got a good little crazy crew over here. Anywho, let's add some splatter. 'Cause we can. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's good. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. Then clean off your brush, because this gouache is heavily, heavily pigmented, and it will stain everything. So, ooh, and I still had some at the base of the ferrule. So there we go. So clean off the brush. For now, I'm just going to let this dry on the palette. Usually I do wipe this right off. I talked about this in... It might have been the waffle flower video I did this week. I can't remember. It might have been that one. But you can let gouache just dry on a palette. Like, you can let it fully dry, and then you can reactivate it with water. Because gouache, unlike paint, if I use craft paint, it splatters great. Distress paint, I've used it a ton. Your basic craft paint, that works too. However, once that stuff's dry, it's permanent. Gouache is not permanent when dry. You can reactivate it. However, something like this is plastic type palette, and it would kind of apply, I think, to any palette. Because I've added water to this, I've thinned it out a bit. When it does fully dry, I can still reactivate it. However, it will, like, peel. It'll flake. So when it's fully dry, if you're not careful, like, those little flakes will just go everywhere. Just a heads up. But you can let it dry. You can add water to it again later, work it back up, and it works just fine. But I usually just wipe it off and go on about my business because, yeah, I've found like flakes of gouache, and especially this black stuff, because it stains everything. But yeah, there's still a good amount on there, so I'll save it for the next project. So he has that. I did manage to get a bit of splatter on the inside, but whatever. Whatever. There we go. They don't see anyone face to face. Sometimes that's the case, but honestly, a lot of times it's amazing how people will go about their real life acting normal, being super kind, yada, yada, yada. I always find it rather interesting that the ones I find the most hinged, because again, I've mentioned this. Like, I have had people come out of the woodwork and say some pretty insane, like, outright threats, etc., etc. It does not take me very long. And I don't spend much time because I don't have time, you know, for nonsense. But it does not take me long to find the person's, like, who they are. I can find addresses, profiles, all of it very, very quickly. And yeah, it is interesting when I find some of their profiles and it's like, this you? Because you're supposedly an upstanding citizen, and here you are, like, uttering threats to a crafter on the internet. Some people are nuts. Anyway, like I said, thankfully the majority, especially in card making, are pretty awesome. So we've got our bits of splatter. This is going to take a minute to dry. So I really didn't need to do this prep work ahead of time because I could have done this and then, you know, what have you. So I used another sentiment from the Swiss Dots set. This FY is on pre-order. Like, people can order it. It says with the listing. So I can only speak to Simon Says Stamp. When they put an item on pre-order, it says like in red when, like right below, like with the product info, when it's expected to be back in stock, because they don't ship orders till the pre-ordered item is in. So when people add it, because people have, again, lost their minds, like, oh, it took them too long to ship my order. And it was like, you ordered a pre-order item. Like, it was all explained. Anyway, I stamped the thank you sentiment onto white cardstock with black ink. Amy the detective, they do say that women can hunt you down in seconds. Oh, literally. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long because that's something so many people do not understand. Like, there's no such thing as anonymity. Not on the internet. Like,
It's all written in ink.
oh yeah. Like, I kind of shake my head at how some people act on the internet, and I was like, that can follow you for the rest of your life. Hello. So, anyway, I stamped it, I die cut it with the little coordinating, because there's a coordinating little die set that die cuts the sentiments. Love. In fact, I'm going to put him back in his packaging so I don't lose him. And I die cut extra just scraps to stack to give this dimension, as the great Laura Basson says. So we're going to stack these together to give them that little extra something. And it always just depends on my mood, and it depends on the sentiment and the size of the die cut I'm working with, because sometimes I'll just do the sentiment and I'll put foam squares behind it, you know, whatever. It literally just depends. But when there's a coordinating wafer die, more often than not, it's just as fast to like die cut some scraps, stack them on behind, and you're good to go. Yeah. So I got that. And then one more layer. My rule of thumb generally is 3 layers, but that's 3 layers of heavyweight cardstock, because I always use Simon Says Stamps. Like, all this white cardstock is Simon Says Stamps, and this is 120-pound white cardstock. So it's got a definite amount of heft. Like, those 3 layers give it like a good chunk. There we go. Okay, so I've got my sentiment. He's probably going to get tucked right in there. And even though I stacked him, I'm still going to put just a little bit of foam adhesive, just a smidge. We'll just do a little strip of the Big Mama foam tape, just to give him a little extra something. So we'll take that and we'll stick that in just like that. There we go. There we go. There we go. And then one more. Okay. So, for the most part, most of that splatter looks dry, but I'm still going to be careful, you know, because it'd be just my luck to grab a spot that's not. Got him in place. Okay. This is literally going to be the shortest live I've ever done. Who'd have thunk?
You're getting pretty close to it.
I did prep. If I hadn't done the prep work, we'd still be here for a bit longer. But it is like this is my version of clean and simple. You know.
Kathy would be so proud.
I know, right? I always get a kick out of that though, because Kathy Zielski is the one who I got the fan brush idea from. You know. So I find that funny because like she's much more clean, but she does do splatter. She does it much more conservatively than me, and she switched from this to a smaller brush because she doesn't go like I do. Anyway, I love Kathy. She's the best.
And you got her boot dish.
I do. I got Kathy's boot dish. So I just get a kick out of that. Like the fan brush was literally her fault because she used it in a video eons ago, and I was like, "Oh, need add to cart," and I literally have backups, even though mine. Gosh, that was how many months ago? Like I broke this during a live,
Yeah.
and then I duct taped it back together. Like this is the same one. I've been using him for years. I know how he works, and I love him, and he's just wobbly, and it don't care. Don't care. I don't care. So anyway. Okay. Does adhesive goo come off? No. These, and we had a discussion with this in whatever live stream. These are my ultimate favorite scissors for cutting super sticky, like the Big Mama foam tape. That stuff is sticky. It is sticky. These are awesome. I sometimes will get maybe a teeny amount of buildup. You know, it's rare. And if I do, I just take like rubbing alcohol will break up the adhesive and I wipe it off and it's fine. But like you saw, I trimmed that little strip of Big Mama foam tape. I have not had any other, and I have other Teflon coated scissors, but these are my favorite. And it's funny because when Simon first released these, whenever it was, it's been at least a year. I forget. I remember pulling them out of the box with whatever release it was, and I was like, really? I was like, these look like toddler scissors, you know, with their little like blunt ends. And I was like, favorite scissors. I have backups of these just in case they disappear. Even though everyone in the household knows, do not touch my craft scissors. Like, nope. But yeah, love these. Love them. They just, so good. Okay. Sunbeam. Positively Dazzling Gems. Oh, it's Kathy's fault. Yep, it is totally Kathy's fault.
Totally Kathy's fault.
Darlene, Goo Gone or isopropyl alcohol will help remove. Yes, but with Goo Gone, anything like that, after you've used it, if you use something like Goo Gone on your scissors, use alcohol after it then, because that has an oily residue. And if it's still on your scissors and then you go to like cut cardstock or whatever, that oil will transfer to your cardstock. So I don't use Goo Gone. It's another one where I cannot stand the smell. Like I use that only when I'm absolutely desperate because I have a bottle of it, but I hate the smell of Goo Gone. It just gross. But usually alcohol does a trick. So yeah, the other ones that are really good are the Tim Holtz ones, like because these are Teflon coated as well. The tonic Tim Holtz, like, you know, these are great scissors, but I prefer these just for like heavy duty stuff. We have like 2 extra pairs. We use them for gardening. Like these things are good scissors. Good scissors. But yeah, these are my sticky foam tape. Anything sticky, I cut with these little dudes. I love them. Like they're always within arm's reach. Okay, we're gonna add a little bit of bling. Just cause I can. Add like 1 to there. Yeah, I like that. Could add 1 to that guy as a little get where you belong. There we go. Yeah. Could tuck 1 over here. And then we'll tuck 1 over there and there. And again, flip over, do what you belong. While I'm doing this, the unpaid intern can pick a winner.
Do his one job.
Yeah, do his one job. Yeah, that works. That works. Where's my... Speaking of tools, I keep in arm's reach. Where did mine... There it is. It was hiding. It was hiding. Okay. I love my small Tim Holtz scissors. One of the few brands that makes scissors for lefties. Yes. that is what we have of the Tim. Like these are the biggest ones, the shears. There's 3 sizes, the shears, and then there's like a regular size pair, and then there's the little snips, which I don't know where I put them. But yeah, these do come in a left-handed version, and I have those for the unpaid intern because he's left-handed.
Yep.
So I got him his own scissors.
Yeah. And you use them just as much as
I use them a lot too because I'm ambidextrous, so I can use both. But yeah, I got him scissors for his very own to use.
Yep. He's very nice.
Yep. Okay, we're going to pick these up with my little embellishment wand and adhere them into place with the craft tacky glue, just like so. Stick one right there. Yeah. Just because we can. Okay. And then, tuck one in right there. And then right there. And yes. Yes. Just that little extra bit of bling. There we go. Get my little embellishments back in their container so that I don't lose them. Perfection. Put that. I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. So we've got, there we go. So you got the Swiss dot embossing folder, just subtle, tone on tone. And then all that texture from the pattern paper and just adding that little bit of foam tape in between the layers. Just gives it that little extra something. And then a little bit of bling. And then our little sentiment. I was going to say, did the neighbors get home? I don't think so. Anyway, that was the finished card.
Oh, yeah.
This was great. Super fun. Okay, let me switch over to... There we go. Okay, who am I mailing this to?
The winner today is Lenya from California.
Lenya in California. It's getting added to the pile. Haven't mailed out the last 2 live stream winners either. I'm hoping to do that this week. I think I might be able to get out to the post office this week. Like I said, I have other deadlines I have to do. That's also why today's live is so ridiculously short for me. Like I feel this is crazy. We're not even at an hour.
Yeah.
This is a record. Don't expect this. Do not expect this. The next live will probably be like 3 hours or some insanity. Speaking of which, next Sunday is Father's Day.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I don't know yet if we will go live. Usually we do. We don't care like what the holiday is. But I was thinking about this before he even came in here today. And I was like, depending on what plans we might end up making, we usually don't go out during like Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever. Because it's usually because everything is like so chaotic. Like Mother's Day, I refuse. Like Chris has offered over the years, like, oh, we could go for like brunch. And I'm like, heck no.
There's like 600 people.
Oh yeah. I don't want to go out when like any major holiday, we don't make plans to like, let's go for dinner or whatever. Because it's like, I don't want to deal like packed places, tons of people, everyone acting like
terrible shrimp.
Yeah, for terrible shrimp. Yeah, so I don't know yet. We don't necessarily have plans for the weekend, but if something comes up, but I will let everyone know. As of right now, we probably will go live. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm not really thinking that's going to be one of those days that I'm not going to be able to participate.
I know, and I think next weekend, wasn't it next weekend? It's supposed to be like thunderstorms and everything too.
Something like that.
Who knows? So we'll see. We'll see. And then, yeah, the whole like bonus live thing, I always promise, it just depends. It just depends on like a million things. Life is chaos, man. Life is chaos. Try chugging some Gatorade. Sometimes that helps. That would make me sick. I hate Gatorade, Power, any of those types of like energy drink. No. Nope. I literally only buy that stuff when we've got like when people in the house are like sick, you know, and up chucking constantly because it gives you
We've got some
some
Pedialyte
minerals.
sometimes. That
No.
stuff is disgusting too. It's
Yeah.
so thick and like,
Oh, gross. Any of that kind of stuff. Same with like Pepto. The thought of Pepto Bismol makes me want to just heck no, no. uh, Robbie, your suggestion, yeah. Recently heard having a McDonald's Coke and French fries helps with a migraine. You know what? It actually probably would because the salt. It's the salt. It's the same idea as chugging like a Gatorade. It's the salt
salt and fat.
and a little bit of fat. And then, yeah, like I could go for that. I could be just like, oh, I have a migraine. Can we go to McDonald's get fries? Like I need to. So we don't go there very often, but every well, you can't go around McDonald's French fries. Same thing. McDonald's. If you want to sponsor me, hi. You know, I'll pimp you out.
Just give us unlimited hot fries. It's got to be like just
be
out of the
so
fryer.
Good. I totally would.
If it's not directly out of the fryer, it's not quite as good.
Crackers. Honestly, you guys, I just take like Tylenol. It's with right now, like my headache isn't bad. It's like simmering because I took Tylenol, so it's fine. When it's like migraine level, that's where I gotta like curl up in the fetal position, blanket over the head, and just sleep through it.
You cancel the line.
Yeah, we cancel everything because I cannot sit in front of lights when it's like migraine because it's not fun. But have some poutine. Oh yeah, but not McDonald's fries. McDonald's fries are not good for poutine. That's disgusting. Even though here, I think you can get poutine at McDonald's.
You can, but like their fries are too thin.
Yeah, I would never. That to me is an abomination. Love you, McDonald's. You know, still sponsor me, but McDonald's poutine, gross. Not okay.
Got to go to Leopold's for some good.
Yeah,
poutine.
Leopold's. Well, or do you do like the Costco fries? Because we buy the big bags of the Costco fries, the big Cavendish fries that are big and crispy. Those.
Yeah.
I could go for a Costco poutine right now. We were just at Costco. That place is a chaotic mess. But I would still take a sponsorship though.
Yep.
That's what Costco needs to do. They don't do that kind of stuff. They don't need to advertise. But still, you know, I'm like one of their biggest fans. I'm there every week.
Sometimes twice or 3 times. We need something specific for supper.
Try dual action, part Tylenol, part. Actually, yeah. If you alternate, you're supposed to alternate, not take them at the same time. I usually take them at the same time because I'm lazy. But Tylenol and ibuprofen, and you're supposed to alternate them or take them
2 hours apart.
at half an hour up to 2 hours apart. That was actually all I was prescribed after I had an emergency after I had an emergency C-section. They never gave me any painkillers. Don't even get me started on that rant. I could make this live 4 hours long ranting about the treatment of women in healthcare. It doesn't matter where in the world. Sorely understudied and pain care for women specifically. Pain management and pain care. I had a major surgery and I was given Tylenol and ibuprofen. And it was like, here you go. And I literally couldn't walk. And yeah, 12 years later, and I've still got like issues with that surgery. But anyway. I think coffee helps with headaches. Yes, caffeine. Caffeine helps widen the blood vessels. Does it widen or they constrict them?
They widen them.
Yeah. Caffeine helps widen them, so it's supposed to help. Yeah. All the things. Just making sure McD's has the best nostalgia. Oh yeah, McDonald's fries are so good.
Unless they've been sitting for a while.
Oh yeah, the minute they go soggy, I'm just like, nope. They just, hot, fresh, every once in a while. We don't get fast food very often, but that's always our running like thing is it's like with McDonald's, it's like it's crap however many times in a row. And we all were like, why do we keep doing this to ourselves? Wham. And then the next time you go, you get like those perfect fries, like just perfect. And it's like life is better. The heavens have opened. You can hear the angels singing. And that's what keeps us going back.
Mm-hmm. It's like gambling.
It is kind of like gambling. It is gambling with. It's like, are we going to get the good fries today? Oh my goodness. Okay. Just like, oh yeah, we're all just going on about like snacks and French fries, poutine, and headache remedies. That's so funny. Um, do do do. Uh, Truth, Doris. Yeah, everything I've been saying about like medication. I am not a health professional, you know, and it is true. Taking too much, like Tylenol, ibuprofen, those sorts of things, like taking too much for too long of a time, like extended period, you can do literal damage to your kidneys and liver. Like, just always be aware of that and always talk to your doctor. You know, there's a reason, like, why they have like limits on how much you're supposed to take and yada yada yada. And then yeah, if your headache hasn't gone away in X amount of time, blah, blah, all those things. Anyway, if you ask them for no salt, they make them fresh, and then put your own salt. I've heard that. I still kind of, I don't know. One of our kids used to work at McDonald's, and I don't. I never ask for anything that I know is going to kind of put them inconvenience the workers because they have enough to deal with. It's so bad. It's so bad. All fast food workers, I feel so bad for them. Like being in the front lines and just customer service and food service, all of it, especially nowadays, talking about what we were talking about earlier with the way people act online, the way people act in real life is disturbing. Like how human beings, like our age, how human beings treat food service and customer service workers is vile. And the stories, because two of my kids work in various elements of that, and it is every day. Every day there's something. Every single shift they work, there is at least one adult acting like a complete and total donkey, and it, boy. So, yeah, I've always, because I've worked in food service. That is my other rant. Is it should be a prerequisite before even like before you're allowed to officially be considered an adult. You should have to work in food service and customer service. Like everyone, every human being should have to do that because then they would treat others with more respect and empathy. So that's just my little soapbox. Um, Doodly doo. Uh, okay. Anyway, do. Okay. Yeah, it was like they got cold, gross. Yep. Yep. Um, Ginny, that makes me happy. Your daughter just had a C-section. She's nursing and they gave her pain meds. Good. Good. I'm just, that whole narrative of all of it needs to change. I am just, oh, it makes me angry. I know so many people that have had major like surgical procedures, females specifically, and like how they are just not given anything. I've had procedures done and they're just like, you'll just feel a pinch. And it was like horrific levels of pain, you know? And it's like, if I was a dude, you would have been like injecting me with all the meds, you know? Because don't want to hurt their little selves. Anyway, okay. I appreciate y'all chatting with me. And I am just scrolling through. Um, I was a waitress and bartender. Yep, I've done waitressing too. I've done food service, I've done customer service, I've done waitressing and semi bartending, all those things. Like been there, done that in some of the stories, and that was a lifetime ago. That was in a previous life. It's kind of crazy. Um, yeah. Do do do. Anyway, yeah, telephone operators. Yeah, that would have been an interesting job too. Okay. So anywho, I appreciate all y'all. My migraines disappeared after menopause. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but that would be awesome. I still got a ways to go for that. You know, some days I feel super, super old, but I know with my genetics, menopause is still quite a ways down the road for me. Some days I dread the thought of it, and other days I'm like, please bring it on. Anyway, um, do do do. Did we see a disconnect? Maybe he's gone. He's gone. He hung around for a little bit, and then I was going on my rants, and he went to deal with something else. So if he didn't give the disembodied hand, big thank you to Chris for helping. And I appreciate all y'all. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This was the shortest live I've ever done, even with my chattering for the last 10 minutes. Still the shortest live I've ever done, but I still had fun. This was fun to make. Like, you can't go, your migraines also went away in menopause. You guys are giving me hope. Thankfully, I don't deal with them very often. I could not imagine people that deal with like frequent migraines or cluster headaches. Oh, I can't imagine. Like, my migraines are very infrequent, usually related to the weather, and then every once in a literal blue moon, I will get a rager of one. Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
Did you give the disembodied hand wave?
No, I haven't done that
okay,
yet.
here's the disembodied hand wave, friends. Oh, thanks. Anyway, oh my goodness. Well, yeah, who knows what's gonna happen, but like always, I'll do the social medias for this. I don't need to update any of the links or anything, because I didn't do anything totally crazy. Stay tuned though. I do have more videos coming. Like I said, that's why this needed to be short. I got other deadlines I need to literally get working on as soon as I'm done this. And that's also probably why I'm chatting, because I'm procrastinating, because I've got so much work to do.
You do that a lot.
I am a queen of procrastination.
But you work so well under pressure too.
I do work very well under pressure. I am always last minute with absolutely everything. That is my life. It's been like that since I was a kid, like writing essays at 5 a.m. to be handed in at 9, that sort of a thing. Anyway, I appreciate all of you, and most likely we'll go live again on Sunday, because for those that aren't aware, the schedule is 2 p.m. Central on Sundays, with next Sunday being Father's Day. It's a little iffy, but most likely still going to happen. We'll see. So I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye. Thank you so much to my amazing Patreon supporters. For anyone that might be interested in joining my Patreon community and supporting me, the link to my Patreon is in the description box below the video. For everyone else, as always, thank you all so much for taking the time to watch my videos, for thumbs upping, commenting, subscribe if you haven't, I'd love to have you. And here's a couple other videos for you to check out in case you missed them. Bye!